Alright youth, well welcome to my little tutorial of how to use the Pixlr app or website. I'm going to go ahead and get started here for those of you who are wanting to create a t-shirt and design something for the challenge. You're going to want to go to pixlr.com//x. This is, for me, the easiest and quickest way to edit anything and kind of make it your own. So first off, right off the bat, you've got a lot of different options here. We're going to go ahead and hit Create New. And then here is a host of different choices here for you. Obviously, my advice to you guys would be, if you're going to design something that's going to go on a t-shirt, you want to have the highest pixels that you can possibly get, because it's going to give you the best quality print. It's not going to be blurred or pixelized itself. It'll be clear, crisp, and clean. And so what I would recommend, instead of selecting something from here, since we're creating a t-shirt, we are going to go ahead and edit our pixel size here. So go ahead and go into width, and what I would suggest is go ahead and start with a width of 2000 pixels and a height of 4000 pixels. So very narrow, very tall. Again, we're making a t-shirt, so we want something that's going to cover from chin to waist, from shoulder to shoulder. So that's kind of what we're going for here. Background is something that I would highly recommend to leave unchecked. If you select a background, it's going to cover the entire image, and so you'll have, and what you'll end up getting is just a huge rectangle on your shirt. So we don't want that. We want a transparent background. So go ahead and keep that unchecked. Remember, 2000, 4000. You don't have to give it a name yet. Go ahead and hit Create. So here is our template for a t-shirt canvas. So let's just go ahead and get started here. So let's go over here, and let's just say you're going to want to add a font. Words, whether it be a song or scripture or something inspirational. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to add. So you're going to hit the text button. You're going to add new text. And then this field right here is going to allow you to change what is on the shirt. So I'm just going to type in, "For God so loved the world." Okay, there we go. For God so loved the world, John 3:16. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Obviously, you have a bunch of different options. These all should be pretty self-explanatory. You guys are all smart enough to know what all of these things mean. You can play around with the settings if you want. Let's go ahead, before we jump into font, what I would recommend is, let's go ahead and adjust the size. Now, since we're making a t-shirt, you need something that's going to be readable, right? It's got to be able to be read even from a distance. So what I would recommend is, if you can get it to fit, depending on how much text you're using, if you can get it to fit, use nothing smaller than 400. Nothing smaller than 400, okay? So that would be my recommendation. I'm going to go ahead and just clamp this to the top. You can see those pink lines are your lock lines, so that keeps it centered. It'll keep it sharp onto the edges if you need to, or you can find the complete center by getting it right there. So those are your lock lines. I'm going to just go ahead and lock mine right up there. There we go. For God so loved the world. Super simple, super easy. Now we're going to go ahead and look at font type. So from here, there are a ton of free fonts that you can use. Now, when it comes to t-shirt design, there's a couple different things you need to consider. Number one, bolder is better. Okay, so something with a little bit of a bolder print is better. Thin looks cool, but sometimes it's hard to read. But if that's the look you want to go for, it's your design. You do what you want. The designs that I have seen so far are the ones that have like a faded or broken down letter. Sometimes those don't print as well on t-shirts. So just keep that in mind. Again, your design, your creation, you do what you want. But let's see, let's scroll down here. Like I said, there's a ton. You know what, we're going to go with this one right here. The reason why I went with this one is, if I make this W smaller, it looks like Walt Disney World. font. So anyway, just throwing that out there. I wonder what the D looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look like the Disney D, but whatever. The W does, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, so we're going to go with something like that. Yeah, so there's my font that I've selected. Now color. Color is super, super important when you're designing t-shirts. Now, why is color important? Well, if you wanted to make your font black, that is fine. However, when you do this, you have just eliminated any possibilities of getting this printed on a black or darker colored shirt, like a navy blue or a dark, dark crimson red, or like a dark purple or anything like that. The black will not show up well. It'll be hard to read, and so you've just eliminated a lot of popular colors of shirts. Okay, so what I would recommend is keeping your font white. Now again, I'm going to say it again. Your shirt, your design, your creation, do what you want, but just heed my warning, okay? So I would suggest keeping it white. When you keep it white, it can be seen on virtually any shirt, with the exception of obviously a white t-shirt, but most people don't like white t-shirts because they fade and get all weird colors in the armpits and all that funky stuff, right? Nobody likes that. So white doesn't really matter. You go with white if you can, if that fits your creation. A couple different things here. You've got line spacing. So obviously if I shrink this down, the letters get closer together. If I increase it, they get really spread apart. Okay, so you got line spacing, you got letter spacing. It does just exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to separate the letters. Okay, or you can crunch them all together. It makes it so nobody can read it. And that's not any fun. So those are some different things that you can play around with. Find the look that fits with your creation. So that's that. So then we move down here. Background. Background does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to add a background. So, I guess if you wanted just a random squarish rectangle shape on your shirt, you can go with that. But again, transparent is best. So I would recommend not using that. But again, your creation, your design. Then you get outline. Outline does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to outline the letters. I would recommend nothing bigger than 2, because then it just gets really, if you go any bigger than 2, it gets really weird looking. So I would say 1 or 2 are your best 2 options, and this gray looks absolutely horrible, so we're not going to go with gray. But this allows you, if I did not have outline and I wanted to find some like pastel color t-shirts, some like light blues or some baby blues, baby pinks, those kind of colors, this white will not show up very well. But if I add this outline, now I've got a black outline around it, and guess what? It'll pop right off those shirts. But if you don't want the outline, if you just don't like how that looks, you can not do it. Just don't select it. But do a shadow. A shadow is really, really cool. Obviously, it's made my words all kind of funky here, so let's go ahead and get that locked back up. There we go. Shadow does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to put a shadow, and you can kind of sort of see it underneath here right now. Right now it's set to color gray. But we're going to make it black. There we go. Now you can kind of really see it. And then we're going to mess around with this transparency here. And I'm going to drive this all the way up so it's less transparent. And then this does your blur, so I can blur it a lot. I can blur it not at all. Now I just got a very sharp, crisp shadow behind there. You can change the positioning of where it all lines up. It's kind of really up to you and how you want to play around with this and make it look the way you want it to look. I prefer a little bit of a blur personally. I think it just looks better. It almost makes it look like it's popping right off the page or off the shirt design. So that would be my recommendation. But again, your design, your creation. But from there, that's that. I mean, from there you can do whatever you want to do. Now, obviously, I suggested not using black and recommended using white. You can use whatever color you want to make. Sorry about that. You can use whatever color you want to make. You can select whatever color you want. Just keep in mind, if I go in here and I select a pink, that pink will not look good with some colors of t-shirts. So on a red t-shirt, I'm going to look like I'm screaming Valentine's Day or something. It's just not going to look right. On a blue t-shirt, it will look very funky. I mean, there's just so many different shirts that won't go with certain colors. So keeping it simple for your font color is probably the best. But again, your creation, your design, make it the way you want it to look. Just remember, you've got to get the most votes in order for you to get your shirt printed. So just keep that in mind. You want to make it look good for the people. Alright, so with that in mind, there's that. A couple different other things that you can do. If you've got, you want to add some stickers, you want to do some different shape designs, you want to, border doesn't really work well with what we're working on here for t-shirts. An overlay, there's a lot of different overlays. Now keep in mind, this is a free website to use. However, there are some overlays that you can see here are set for premium, so they're part of a premium membership that you have to pay for. But there are a lot of free things in here that you can use. You just got to look for them, okay? Other than that, you got stickers. Again, there's some stickers that do cost money, but there are a lot of stickers that don't cost anything at all. So that's kind of a really funky looking raccoon there. That's kind of cool. But anyway, again, it's part of the premium membership. So if your parents are not going to allow you, and that is up to them, to purchase a membership, which there's no need for it, then don't worry about it. Just look around. Like I said, you can kind of shuffle through all of these different things. You'll find stuff that is free. You'll find stuff that is usable, but just takes a little bit of time to find it all. So, but again, yeah, shapes, same thing. There's a lot of different shapes that you can add. So I could add this shape if I wanted to. We'll just kind of play around with a couple different things here. We'll just do something like this. This is something I would never do for a shirt. But, okay, so obviously, sorry, my microphone was working up here. Obviously, this would be something that I would never do on a t-shirt, but for just showing you guys kind of some different options and different things you can do. This is another layer. You've got your layer list over here. Okay, so there we go. So you got different layers. What you can do with these layers is you can do some blending. So right now, if I click here on this little menu settings button here, those will take me to this layer's settings. So right now, I can mess with the transparency. Make it disappear, reappear. Okay. I can lock it, I can make it hidden or visible, a bunch of different things here, but blend mode is what we're going to talk about, blend mode. So if I select multiply, there you go, it kind of multiplies over the various layers. If I select screen, it goes in behind the layers. If I select overlay, now I've got the shadowing there. If I select darken, kind of does a similar thing as multiply. If I select lighten, so you can kind of play around with these different things. Luminosity, whatever, however you want to pronounce that funky word. There we go. A couple different things there that you can mess around with. So just kind of play around with it and see what different things you can come up with. Sometimes, well, that's kind of interesting. Sometimes they do different things. So it's just a matter of just kind of playing around. If you get something on there and you're like, ugh, I just don't really like that, you can always select the settings and then come down here to delete layer. And there it goes away. So there's a bunch of different things you can do, a bunch of different funky settings that you can do. You can go in here and go like this, and then come over here and you want to duplicate it. Now I've got 2 of them, and then now I want to go and duplicate it again, and now I've got 3 of them. And then, okay, so now what do I want to do? I want to go in here and I want to go to multiply. If that doesn't look good, let's go screen. And now it's kind of putting it behind everything. So go in there, screen, go up here, go to screen. So there's a couple different things you can do there to kind of play around with the different things. Obviously, I would not recommend doing something like that because it just doesn't look right. But again, your creation, your design, you do with it however you want. Now the final stage to all of this, or the final step to all of this, is two parts. One, making sure that you crop the parts that aren't being used. So I would come up here and I'd go to crop, and I would go to, you want to select aspect, okay, and it's going to immediately select it to a 1x1 square. Now this will actually work for my design, and the reason why this is important, because if you save this entire image as is, like this, with all this extra stuff that's not being used, it'll be hard to fit it into the t-shirt, because there's only certain parameters that your design can sit on the t-shirt creator. So we want to keep that in mind. So select aspect ratio. If you go to none, no, just kidding, original, you can shrink this down or make this into different sizes. If you keep it unlocked, not turn on aspect ratio, you can select the aspect that you want and line it up the way you want it to be lined up. So once you get your unused area cleared off, hit the enter button. Bloop, there we go. And now I've got a crisp, clean image that I can take. The final step is going to be saving. So it should, because it's got a transparent background, it should automatically save it as a PNG file. If it does not, if you do not get a PNG file and it's selecting here JPEG, now look, it's adds this background. We don't want that, again, because otherwise you're going to have just a white square. It's going to look bad. Keep it transparent, keep it PNG, okay? So once you do that, you can select your file type. We're just going to name this 316. John 3:16, for God so loved the world. There we go. And I'm going to hit download. And guess what? This John 3:16 right here is going to be showing up in your folders under your download section. So you just want to make sure you find that, use that, and that'll be the file that you will send me. And then from there, I will make sure that we get it on to a t-shirt, so that we can get the voting going and have fun with this. We'll do this for the next couple of weeks, give you guys some time to come up with some different creations and different designs, but just have some fun with it. Again, try to keep it faith-based. I would love and appreciate that. If you want to make a funny thing, funny is great. We can go with funny. Whatever you want to do, just keep it clean, and we'll go from there. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, youth@nhachurch.com. You can reach me there. You can find us on social media and all the other different types of things. So again, pixlr.com/X. Check it out. See what designs you can come up with, and see what direction you go with this, and see how well everything goes. So hopefully you win. Hopefully your design will be the winning design, and you'll get your own t-shirt with your own design on it. How cool is that? So anyway, much love. God bless. Talk to you guys later.